you have a king?
Flush. A flush?
I like to gamble. That's my periodic poker game. But I'll bet on all kinds of things. Politics, sports, which raindrop will drop faster in the window of the car. Fortunately, in my state, that kind of social gambling's legal. But in half the states, it's not. And in most of America, organized gambling's illegal. And internet gambling is banned. I'm told it must be because, as one U.S. Senator put it, it's the crack cocaine of gambling. Internet poker briefly thrived in America, but then the government shut down the big gambling sites. Go to them from the United States now, and you see this notice from the Department of Homeland Security. I thought they were supposed to protect me from terrorists, not poker players. Europe is more free than America on this. Here's that same company's European site, which Americans are not allowed to use. And that's a shame, says Michelle Minton of the Competitive Enterprise Institute. She says, let Americans have some fun, let American businesses make the money. But no, don't, says John Kint of the University of Illinois. He's testified before Congress on why gambling, especially internet gambling, must be banned. John, why?
Well, I think that we're not talking fun and games here. We're not talking a libertarian issues. We're talking about a serious economic issue here. We're not talking about fun and games.
But shouldn't people be free to... It is a libertarian issue.
I mean, I like to play card games. Everybody likes to play games, but we're really talking about a potential serious strategic, economic, national security issue. And that's what came out in 7 years of congressional hearings. We published that in the U.S. International Gambling Report. It's not a fun and games issue.
A national security issue? I think this is just power-mad politicians who want to control people. How is national security at risk?
It's an economic national security issue. The widespread internet gambling would do exactly what the Commodities Futures Modernization Act did when it eliminated all of the anti-gambling provisions for Wall Street. It caused the debacle that we had 4 years ago. Widespread internet gambling would destabilize financial systems, economic systems. It would create a huge speculative bubble. It would look great for a while, and then it would all collapse.
Michelle, this argument seems thin to me, but his side is winning.
Well, now, see, I actually agree with Professor Kint on one thing. This isn't a fun and games issue. What we're talking about isn't, should people be able to play gambling, or should people be allowed to play poker online? Is it dangerous? What we're talking about is an individual's right to exercise his or her own judgment and use their own money to decide what they want to do with it. It should be legal because it's an issue of freedom. Adults who earn money should have the right to spend it however they want, so long as they're not harming another person.
What about the argument that this is like crack cocaine, the internet gaming, and kids will get addicted?
People have been gambling since the dawn of time. In America, people have been gambling since pre-colonial times. And yet, if you look at the rates of pathological gambling in this country, it's less than 1%, and that includes children who gamble. So even if we had internet gambling, I don't see that the rates of pathological gambling would increase that much to cause the crisis that the professor's talking about.
The public service announcements paid for by the government often, do try to convey what John is worried about.
It was just one game, he said. I tried to persuade him, but the more I talked, the deeper into it he got. Just one more game, he would say. Soon.
If your kids gamble, they're playing with more than just money. They're 3 times more likely to drink alcohol, 4 times more likely to smoke, and are twice as likely to use other illegal drugs.
Give me a break, John. I mean, if they gamble, they'll use alcohol and illegal drugs. It just means the kind of people who gamble probably already are more adventuresome.
To some extent, I would agree with you on that. In fact, but the way to think about this is to compare addicted gambling, which is recognized by the American Psychiatric Association as the first addictive behavior, medical profession is very concerned about this. And it shows, and the studies show that when you have gambling facilities, electronic gambling in particular, which is what the National Gambling Impact Study Commission calls the crack cocaine of creating new addicted gamblers, and then when you put this on the internet, it's going to be in every living room, at every work desk, at every school desk, and on every cell phone.
Michelle, you say this is entertainment, just like watching a movie.
There are benefits way beyond just the entertainment factor of gambling, especially if we're talking about poker. It's social. It helps you learn statistical analysis. It deals with conflict resolution. It teaches patience. I think some kids, especially if we're talking about playing poker with their families and not necessarily in casinos, could benefit greatly by playing games like poker that encourage focus and strategic thinking and long-term planning.
John, what about that?
We're really talking about the battle for the future. We're talking about economic security, economic stability of expectations. This ban was supported by the National Association of Attorney Generals. It was supported by the National Gambling Impact Study Commission. The 2006 Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act passed the Congress with over 80% in the House.
Okay,
voting in favor
I get it.
of
The
this.
politicians
Bipartisan
don't want
after
us to
7
do
years
that.
of these arguments.
And they get to use force. Thank you, John and Michelle.